Hello everybody, it is I, your favorite VTuber Android Arrowhead, and I am back with yet more Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Dual Destinies, aka Ace Attorney 5, aka not Apollo Justice, but in the Apollo Justice collection. Anyway, monstrous turnabout. We are in the first trial. To recap, a friend of ours' dad is on trial for murder. They think he did it. It was actually possibly a guy who is part crow, who is a Tengu, and he may have killed a fox-themed, I should clarify, nine-tailed fox-theme wrestler, who was also the leader of a small village. And it was done by a guy who's made of flowers, and he used a spear. Anyway, about the murder. We are cross-examining this police officer who is vaguely dressed like a Gundam. Right. Okay. All on the same page now. I really want to write out like a little a recap thing, because clearly I'm not as good at that as I'd like to believe. Alright. Alderman QB was murdered with a spear that's been on the wall. Yeah, we know that. Hey, Lovitch. Hey, how you doing? I'm doing really well. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. Ben and Damien Tenma were found in the weapon. Okay. Wait, hold on. Is that true? Let's see. Oddly enough, I don't have the spear in record. Huh. I don't think presenting my attorney's badge is gonna help here. Alright, Mayor's blood is found on it, but no proof could be no prints could be lifted. But wait, if we had the fingerprints on... Yeah, whatever, we'll get to that later. Not even better. Forever recap compilation from JJK level narration before entering the gameplay. Yeah, and I set it to like some music like the... You ever see Supernatural? It was like that thing where they put like a "Carry on my wayward son" in like the recap for every season. But like I do that for like every episode of this. I don't know. I feel like I'm one of the only people left who would actually get that reference. Actually, I guess people from like that era might, but Then attacked his helpless victim, impaling him like a human shish kebab. Sudden pain jolted the victim awake, and he grabbed his statue and struck back. Okay, hold on, let's present that. Or press. Could he really have attacked his attacker after being impaled with that huge spear? Been the best one-on-one experience ever. At all costs like $5 to $9. Yeah, are you on Sunbreak yet? Or are you still doing Rise? Because either way, but like, that is a very good value for the get. Yo, you got Sunbreak! Nice! How you liking it so far? Absolutely! After all, he was once a pro wrestler. The injustice of being drugged, then speared, was answered with a righteous counterattack. But does being a former pro wrestler make him superhuman? Absolutely! After all, he was one of the good guys, like a superhero on the side of justice. Even though he was retired, he could still don his superhero guise in times of need. Objection! You need to lay off the comic books, detective. We're talking about real life here. This base game is so much better. I know, right? Sunbreak, I think, has some of the best endgame in the entire franchise, honestly. The fact that, like, I don't know if you're there yet, but Sunbreak's endgame is like new monster. Yeah, the new monsters fucking rock. Obviously the inspiration was there for the base or Monster Hunter Rise with like the yokai and whatnot, but I feel like having like you got a Frankenstein monster and a werewolf monster and a vampire monster that's not like a literal vampire werewolf or Frankenstein, like that's some good shit right there. That's great stuff. Yeah, fucking challenge on this. Yeah, that was where things really started to be a bit harder and whatnot, especially like once you get higher in like the end game part. That's where you really find the real challenge. Like the tell you what, if you're not there, I won't spoil like what it is for you, but trust me, it'll hurt. Setting aside the half-wits flights of fancy, the fact is this. The court ordered post-mortem concluded the victim moved after his skewering. So he found the strength somehow to attack his attacker, huh? Detective Fulbright's testimony sounds airtight. No wonder he's so competent. That's in so high quality too. Yeah. You like Fiorain? Because I like Fiorain a lot. I thought she was great. No, he only thinks it's airtight. It's up to us to poke some holes in it. That part about the alderman fighting back sounds like a big hole waiting to be poked. I'm gonna be honest. After Silent Hill 2, nothing has ever made me want to put my fingers or anything else inside of a random hole, like, less. I ideally will never be in that situation. Miss Fear have been in the wall, that is, we already know that. One thing that sucks having to go through all the tutorials again, yeah, that's true. It did have quite a bit of that, but trust me, once you get out of, like, the beginning there, you're fine. Obviously, I guess you've already been through it. Yeah, Sunbreak that is some of the best Monster Hunter has ever been. Hopefully, the Wilds expansion, which will likely get revealed in, like, I want to say, like, 3 days, 4 days, maybe? Basically, it's on June, either 2nd or 5th, probably. Yeah, well, I love all the new characters. They were a lot of fun. Especially Fiorain. Fiorain was fantastic. I'm not a simp. I feel like I should clarify that for the audience. Forget the fact that I made a short talking about how great I think Fiorain is. Yeah. Ruin my perspective on bathrooms. Yep. Bathrooms, holes. You know, it used to be that you could find a random hole in the wall, you could stick your arm into it, no problem. Silent Hill 2 comes out, it's filled with goo. They're all filled with goo now. Ruined it for all of us. Let's see, fingerprints naming time. Let's press this. Alright. It doesn't make sense if you think about it. Prints could be easily wiped off.
You do have a point here.
I'd venture to say he did not wipe off the prints because he could not. What do you mean? Looks like he wants you to figure it out. Well, don't just stand there. Show him who's boss. Common mechanics. Oh yeah, like the scroll switching. That was really good. Yeah, they're like letting you kind of pick which like set of stuff you want. And there are even some armor sets that work that into it to where you're supposed to switch to like activate certain buffs, and I like that a lot. I'm totally lost, so why don't you just tell me the answer already? I don't think you saw that plea for help. None of the weapons I don't like before may just be good now that I can swap switch skill loadouts mid combo. Yeah, they really help with not information, situational stuff where you get like maybe you want to swap it up for like a different phase of a monster where certain attacks are more effective or whatnot. I think that was a really cool idea, and I'm kind of sad they didn't bring that back in Wilds. Maybe for the expansion, maybe we'll see.
You feeling alright, kid? Running a fever, perhaps?
I wish Trials came with a reset button.
Well, Apollo,
do I have news for you?
Well, the specifics may yet come to light. Please proceed, Detective Fulbright.
Was asleep from a drug he unwittingly ingested. That, I believe, is true based on what we know, but might as well press it. Come to think of it, a coffee cup was found on the floor. Was the sedative in his coffee?
Bingo! We found traces of a sleeping agent all over the inside of the cup.
And that is why he was out cold.
It is until he leapt to his feet upon being impaled by the mayor.
What an awful way to wake up.
Huh. A rather stimulating eye-opener, if you ask me. I, too, would have risen to the attack, for to die in battle is the samurai way.
You know it's like 2011 or something, right? Or wait, no, this takes place in 2022? When does this take place? Shit. Because I feel like the originals took place in like 2015, 12? It was some point after they were made. Anyway. One thing I hate about Flying Monster was the fact that I can't have a ground and airborne switch skill at the same time, but now having that is going to make me very pleased. Oh yeah, that's like, especially for like fighting Rathalos and whatnot. Granted, I do think they made some additions to Rathalos' moveset that made him more fun to fight in Sunbreak. But yeah, it's, well, in fact, I could potentially chain the ZFSD into the CFD. Yeah. They really went all out for Sunbreak. What's funny too is that before it came out, people were like, oh, but they're not adding that many monsters to the game, but the ones they were adding were like Gormagala, Espinas, Seregios, Astalos, all that stuff. It's like, god damn! They made some good choices there.
Paradise awaits fallen heroes, but that hole in his stomach would make eating a challenge. Oh wait, I should probably read that a different way. Paradise awaits fallen heroes, but that hole in his stomach would make eating a challenge. Prosecutor Blackquill, please! Those morbid jokes of yours have no place in this court. 'Tis the jester and detectives, guys. Moving right along.
Huh. There's none of those flashy, but they sure know how to make some enjoyable staples. They do, yeah. Especially, like, also the new monsters in Sunbreak were just, like, they're pretty damn good. Garen Golem is a cool way of fighting where he does, like, the elemental stuff, like, he, like, gets rocks on his hands. You know, you got Luna Garen who, like, stands up. Granted, Luna Garen wasn't that hard, but still, you know, he's pretty cool. And then you got Malzeno. Malzeno fucking rocks. Teleports, does all cool stuff. God, I love it. Ugh. I wouldn't say he's like my favorite flagship, but he's definitely one of the cooler ones. Hold on, I'm gonna present the stop that. I want to present the statue because this has no fingerprints on it. That might be what I'm looking for. Objection! There it is. Okay. Did the alderman really strike the mayor?
What? Are you questioning my sense of justice?
Your so-called justice needs to find itself a pair of legs to stand on. You claim the alderman struck back after the mayor put a spear through him. You claim the alderman struck back after the alderman put a spear through him. Or the mayor struck... I don't know. But the statue he supposedly used to defend himself creates a major hole in your story, in your theory. Fuck, I'm misreading things.
It would appear that the defense has a counter-argument. Very well, let's hear what the defense thinks is odd about the detective statue theory.
I'm looking up the answer to what year this game takes place. Don't get an actual answer, which highly doubt the one since the guess was between 2026 and 2027. That's actually not impossible because there are, I think, 7 years between Apollo Justice and then the third Phoenix Wright game. And we know that the other ones take place around 2016-ish, if that was the first one, and then it takes place over 3 years. That would be 2018 by the third one. 7 years later would be 2025 for Apollo Justice, and then this would be 2026 because this is a year after that. So that's actually not impossible, that it could be 2026 or 2027. But yeah, Sunbreak. Ooh, boy. That was good. Good shit. There are no fingerprints on this supposedly crucial piece of evidence. And if you look at the crime scene photo, you'll notice that the alderman isn't wearing gloves.
Yes, I believe he is quite gloveless indeed.
No gloves? If he touched the statue with his bare hands, he should have left some fingerprints. Detective Fulbright, you did take that into account during your investigation, didn't you? On the wiki page for them, actually it's just 2026, 2027.
Did I arrest the wrong man?
So yeah, that does make sense, yeah. You did it, Apollo! And now the day is saved, except for the rest of the trial. You knocked Detective Fulbright off his high horse! Well, it's just 1 point in our favor. Who do you suppose clubbed the mayor if it wasn't the alderman? Well, if it wasn't the alderman, that means someone else must have clubbed the mayor. You mean there was a third party there in the Vox chamber? Exactly. And this could be the big break we've been looking for. Imagine this game released more recently in 2026, the game would be wildly different. Wait, what happened in Paris? Was it like a... Was it... Off the top of my head, would it be like a painting robbery, a terrorist attack, or like a revolution? Wait, no. They were trying to kill the paintress. That's my guess. Yeah, I can't even hear anyone laugh, and I already know the joke didn't land. Alright. Exactly! And this could be the big break we've been looking for.
There does seem to be a hole in the prosecution's argument. Prosecutor Blackquill, would you care to respond to the defense's assertion? Thank you, Prosecutor Blackquill. Shit.
From what I understand, the entire place is going to be up in flames because the sports team won or was close to winning. Yeah, that sounds like Paris. Sounds like France, from what I understand. I know it's a joke that people keep saying, like, oh, yeah, the revolutions and whatnot. There is some precedence, at least in that regard. Have you ever looked up the joke about, like, describing the kinds of economies with cows? If you don't, I recommend looking it up, because it is very funny. But the one for France, I believe, was like, you have 2 cows. They all start with you have 2 cows. And for France, it was, you go on a strike, organize a riot, and bar the streets, because you want 3 cows. And, based on what you just said, not to say that I have anything against France, it's just that I keep hearing stuff about that, and it's weird that this keeps happening. Least you could do is look at me while being dismissive.
Your mind is as dull as an unhoned blade, Justice Dono.
I don't know what you're talking about. I watched a similar video, instead of cows it was monkeys. Justice Dono? He's been watching too many samurai flicks. He's been watching too many samurai flicks. Watched a similar video, but instead of cows it was monkeys. I'm curious about that. I'll look that up later, because I find that joke really funny. But, for some reason, sports cause people to start the purge out of nowhere. That is, you know what, in fairness to France, that's true for most countries. There's a lot of stuff like that everywhere. Like, have you seen, like, I don't know what it was, but there was some college town in America where after, like, some college bowl, they were, like, flipping over cars and stuff. I don't know why. I guess they were either out of joy from the team winning or out of hatred of the team losing. But for one reason or another, they were, like, flipping shit. They were breaking things. People get weird about sports. And, in fairness, also anime. But mostly sports. Just because it's more of a popular thing.
It'll take far more than that to cut down Simon Blackquill.
Which, by the way, they couldn't have picked a more, like, American-like name for the guy dressed as a samurai. Just gonna put that one out there. Like, the one character you could give, like, a Japanese name to, it should probably be the guy who thinks he's a samurai.
A whelp such as you is no hope against my superior swordsmanship.
And where is that sword right now, Blackquill? This is a trial, not a sword fight, Prosecutor Blackquill. And then you have, like, Danganronpa characters off to the side, like, it isn't? Tried burning the Eiffel Tower and shooting fireworks at each other over sports. Shit's weird. Burning the Eiffel Tower... But it's made of metal. I mean, not that fire can't melt steel, but... I mean... Right? Am I the only one who sees the problem with that?
There's a perfectly good explanation for the lack of prints on the statue. You might recall that blood-stained cloth you found at the scene of the crime. Well, it just so happens that the blood was the mayor's.
So, what are you getting at?
Own your mind, boy. Why was there blood on that cloth? Solve that riddle and you shall see that the hole you thought you found is but an illusion.
No idea. One of the VNs I'm playing is a Japanese character named fucking Odachi. He struggled with English in his own dialogue. See, that makes sense, though. Odachi feels like that's actually a great name for a character with a sword, because then Odachi is a kind of sword. But, like, his name is Simon Blackquill, and he called me Justice Dono. You know, I'm gonna say it right now. I don't know what you're talking about is absolutely going to be the name of a stream at some point in the future. I don't know which one I'm going to do it for, but that I will absolutely do that. Now, let's see. How was that cloth used? Was it used... Well, probably to wipe up blood. Actually, wait. Let me Just to make sure I don't have it in the picture already. It actually wasn't used for either of those based on the fact that it is currently on the floor, under the couch, or not couch, the chair? Ottoman? What is that? Love seat? Maybe the cloth was used to wipe up as much of the mayor's blood as possible off the statue? And in the process, the culprit inadvertently erased the alderman's fingertips as well.
Objection!
But the mayor did not bother to wipe away his own fingerprints on the murder weapon. Why would he wipe down one weapon but not the other? Careful now. Use what little brains you have left before you speak.
Her name Dadachi uses the exact type of sword as dressed as a samurai. That's very... It is on the nose, but it makes sense. Simon Blackquill, don't get me wrong. Simon Blackquill, cool name. I like the name. The name's not the issue in and of itself. It's just more that it's funny that you've got, like, the most Japanese character, maybe other than Maya, in the entire franchise so far. And his name is Simon Blackquill. Give me a do-over on that one, please. Let's see, how was that cloth used? To wrap the statue? But why would it... Maybe the alderman wrapped the statue in the cloth? In short, he wasn't touching the statue directly when he used it to strike back at the mayor, but why would he take the time to do that? And cool if Blackwell's taken more literally. Oh yeah, have like an actual like black quill, like a crow like feather or something in his mouth. He does have a feather in his mouth, so hey, that was an opportunity. Maybe it's because the black would have clashed a little too much with the rest of his outfit. Or like blended too much.
Precisely. Bully for you, boy.
It was nothing. Apollo, don't let him start manipulating you too. You just closed the hole for the prosecution. I did? I did. Like, he's time to give him his fountain pens and quills to do some prison magic stuff. Oh, that would be pretty cool. Yeah. Like, he draws circles, and, like, the way he draws the magic circle determines, like, the way the spell is affected. I think that's a cool idea. They should make a series like that.
Right. That a statue wrapped in cloth would leave no fingerprints is as plain as day. But this also proves there are no holes in our theory of the alderman striking back.
Ips. Ah! Fox and Demon statue updated in the court record. Question though, why would he wrap it in that? What's the benefit?
Now do you see how dull your mind is?
I'll make sure to sharpen it next time.
A particularly frightening inmate once told me that he always tenderly honed his blades before he went to work, like the samurai of yore.
Whenever he's angry, he just picks his shackles open with a pen or something and puts them back on when calm. That would be a really funny idea for like an animation of like him freaking out. Like he takes the time to calmly unshackle himself, then be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And then he puts them back on.
Samurai? That's more like a homicidal maniac to me.
Well, yeah, that's accurate. He did kill people. That is fair.
Actually, he was working in the prison kitchen at the time. Actually, he was working in the prison kitchen at the time.
Wait, so the inmate was a murdering samurai prison chef? Murdering samurai prison chef would be an awesome name for like an album. Wait, something I want to do at some point? I want to make like a chart for like good game titles. Like make it like, you know those things where it's like a triangle and it says like on like one point, like on each point it's like a different thing and you have to like place it on where it like falls with all of those. I want to do it for it's like a game titles that are like memorable, cool, and make sense with regards to like what the game is. And I want to try to like rank game titles based on that. Even better if those shackles act like Super Broly's collar. Oh, that would be cool. Yeah. Black will join the Bryn Caps, but he do it solely for the ore farming aspects. Yeah, just so it looks cool. Yeah.
It would seem that the victims and his killer were the only ones there after all.
I was kinda attached to that hole. Now what? Apollo, I just thought of something. If they didn't find anyone's fingerprints on the statue, who's to say someone other than the alderman didn't hit the mayor with it? Why didn't I think of that? Anybody could have not left Prince on it.
Then who, pray tell, struck the mayor with the statue? Please illuminate us with your wisdom, young lady.
There's only one answer. The real killer. The game titles are based on those three and how cool they would sound as a band. That is also true. That would be another really good idea. How cool it would be as like a band or album. I think, for example, like you bring up Punishing Gray Raven occasionally. I think Punishing Gray Raven is a really, really cool name. And also, like, don't they have another game by that same studio called like Heaven Burns Red or something? I think both of those are really, really cool like band names. Granted, they're the names of games, they're not the names of bands, but they would be a really cool band name.
Prove the existence of this real killer, then. What evidence have you?
Oh, I'll give you evidence, alright. Athena, are you sure about this? To borrow your words, Apollo, I'm fine. Take a look at this. Black feathers and tracks, allegedly from a yokai, were found at the scene. I believe they're from the third party who struck the mayor with that statue.
Is the defense actually suggesting some sort of monster killed that alderman?
That's exactly what I'm suggesting.
Objection!
Oh boy. No, Athena, you saw what little credibility we had left. Ah! Sorry, guess I got carried away.
Mr. Justice, we've no time to deal with objections between members of the defense.
Sorry, Your Honor. It's just this kid still, well, you know, a kid. Ouch. You meanie, I'm reporting this to Mr. Wright.
So, is Mr. Wright gonna be here soon? No. Is this court to believe the feathers and tracks are from a yokai, as you put it?
Hero games, PGR, three notable games. Wuthering Waves, Punishing Gray Raven, and Twin Tail Battleground. Okay, alright, so Heaven Burns Red is something else. So yeah, Wuthering Waves I've heard of, but I haven't played. I'm gonna be honest. If I was gonna play Wuthering Waves, I probably would have done it within the first year. I feel like if I missed the first year of a gacha game, I'm just probably not gonna get into it. I feel like at some point, I just kinda... I'm just beyond where it would be like a good jumping on point, I think. At least for my opinion. No, Your Honor, I believe they are a fabrication. The real killer wants us to believe some sort of monster murdered the alderman.
Interesting. And why do you suppose the killer would do that?
Why indeed?
Mr. Justice, you seem as new to this as your partner is.
Ah, shit. This I'm not reporting to Mr. Wright. I recall listening to an album recently called Death Isn't Enough, and you could expect the music went hard as hell. That does sound really cool. Yeah. That's a vibe right there. That gives an impression.
Oi, Fulbright. Oi, Fulbright. Explain to his baldness what these brats are missing. You know, the who and why behind those feathers and tracks.
What? You mean you can explain all that? I should probably drink water.
Ha ha! Ha ha ha! Our investigative prowess is without equal.
I'm starting to think I chose the wrong profession.
Very well, let's hear about these so-called yokai feathers and tracks.
Witness testimony. Feathers and tracks.
This entire case centers on one man's attempt to crush opposition to the municipal merger. Mayor Tenma panicked when the amazing Ninetales helped embolden the protesters.
Yeah, stay hydrated even as an android. Exactly. I take my coolant through external means just the way everyone else does. What background checks for a lawyer is like? Alright, so as a lawyer, have you ever, you know what a defendant is? No. Congrats, you're hired. Based on the fact that in Ace Attorney 1, they have that whole thing just to tell people what it is. And obviously, like, for the audience, that makes sense. But it's just the concept of fun, like, comedy. For Phoenix's first case, he has to answer correctly what a defendant is. I don't know, I need to feel past the damn background check would go. Apollo's pretty straightforward. Phoenix was more or less a normal guy at one point. Athena is a good question.
So he stoked the villagers' fears by fabricating a monster. The strange feathers and tracks he planted made it look like a yokai was the killer.
Those feathers and tracks stoked the villagers' fears?
Absolutely. He knew exactly how to prey on their superstitious minds. Those feathers only gave weight to the idea that the alderman was slain by a demon.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if feathers give weight to it, because steel is heavier than feathers.
The accursed demon Tenmataro, that is. Tenmaho. Tenmataro, the legendary demon locked away in the village's forbidden chamber.
Once the defendant is like, Hajime gotta ask, what's an octagon? A fucking octagon bit. I hope to God that when they do the remake for 2x2, not only do they keep that in for, like, even in, like, a route, like, for whatever new route they have, like, the new one, the 2x2 route, let me just call it the 2x2 route just for ease. The 2x2 route, I hope they work that in, even where it's just not even necessary. That feels like something that, like, or just like something even worse, like, what's a hexagon? Even fewer sides, you know? How many sides are on an octagon? God, I fucking love that bit. Danganronpa 2 is good. 2x2 is gonna be fantastic whenever that does come out.
From a young age, the villagers are taught to fear the great black-feathered demon. Unless they were blinded to other, more plausible explanations.
Even worse, if this game in Danganronpa's Hangman Gambit, because imagine having to spell defendant or guilty in the same way when Hajime had to spell elevator because he didn't know. Or like in Danganronpa 1, when they had to, I guess, without going into too far into spoilers for Danganronpa 1, Makoto had to spell, schizo. Which, obviously, no one really says that term anymore, because it's not a good term to use. But, like, yeah, looking at educational game, we also ain't ready for that conversation yet. Yeah, we all learned what octagons were, and how meat on bone the... Hold on for a second. Before we start letting our imaginations run wild, isn't there someone else that could be considered a suspect?
Mr. Justice, please explain yourself.
On the day of the incident, there was a special event held at the On the day of the incident, there was a special event held at QB Manor. And as part of this event, there was someone dressed in the likeness of Tenmataro. Obviously, this person is a much more likely suspect than any legendary demon.
Objection.
Dullard, you're playing right into the killer's mind games.
What?
Listen here. The feathers and tracks were merely red herrings.
No, they were black feathers.
Shut up. The villagers believe the murder to be the work of the real Tenmataro. However, the police believe that the person in the Tenmataro suit is the killer. The defendant sought to sow this confusion in order to deflect The defendant sought to sow this confusion in order to deflect blame away from himself.
This is getting the same rep as the word, yeah, I might be able to get away with saying the first part. I'm definitely not able to get away with saying the second word you put there. But yeah, I do agree that is kind of the... It's just generally not a thing you should... I probably shouldn't have said it in the first place, but yeah, it's just funny that that was the way they chose to represent that information.
However, he was knocked unconscious by the alderman. And thus our mentally deficient mayor was caught red-handed at the scene of the crime.
Objection.
Do you honestly believe Mayor Tenma would do something so stupid?
Objection.
The evidence speaks for itself. Fulbright? Right. It was the mayor's last-ditch effort to stop the opposition before things got crazy. The Amazing Ninetales was fueling both the yokai craze and the anti-merger movement. Plus, he's one of the better-known masked wrestlers and the hometown favorite. That's why the mayor panicked and set out on the path of justice. But do the people of Ninetales Vale really believe a yokai is behind the crime? Yokai sightings are an everyday event there, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did. The handling of Toko's DID was absolutely ass, so it made sense, especially for an early 2000s, 2010s. Yeah. Not, well, to be fair, I don't think Danganronpa was ever really trying to be, like, accurate, but that was definitely not as good as they could have done that. I must say, a crime that preys upon innocent, impressionable minds. Just so. A particularly silver-tongued inmate once had the following words for me. The innocent of heart are the easiest prey. You don't say! Was this inmate a con artist? No. He was framed for the murder of his beloved. I actually felt sorry for the poor chap. Unsurprisingly, sneezing or shocking yourself on purpose isn't how a person with a personality disorder is able to switch. Yeah. Actually, to be fair, I don't really know, like, the ins and outs of it, but I would guess that's not exactly how that works. But maybe it's more like a trigger or something else. Usually for triggers was more in line with it, she wasn't as accurate as it could have been. And see, that's what I thought. I thought it was, like, certain things that trigger it and, like, kind of bring it about as opposed to just, you know, doing like a snapping the fingers sort of thing. Wait, so he wasn't the predator, but rather the prey? Yes, well, now then, the defense may proceed with their cross-examination. Feathers and tracks, alright. True, I think. And from the Amazing Ninetales helped embolden the protesters. I don't think that's true, but we'll go with it for now. By fabricating a monster. He didn't fabricate it. Strange feathers and tracks he planned to make look like the yokai was the killer. Let's see. Drug-induced slumber. Let's see. Planted made it look like yokai was the kill. Actually, before I do anything else, I'm gonna press him on this. I don't want to lose health. You can just control on a whim. That's what I thought. Yeah, exactly. It's not like a thing you can just, like, snap into. It's just like something happens and then you just, you know, you fall into it. But it doesn't add up. If what you say is true, why top it off with murder? Think people could just turn it off, they would. Well, I'm not saying they can. What I was trying to say is, like, it's not like you can just snap your fingers in it. I'm saying, like, you know... Yeah. Which, by that logic, couldn't they just make her sneeze to get out of it? True? Like, isn't that how that would work, theoretically? What do you mean? You claim that our client planted the yokai evidence to stoke the villagers' fears. If so, why not stop there? Why the murder of Alderman Hubie? Excellent point. It is, isn't it? So Your Honor agrees that there was no reason for the murder, correct? Objection! Perhaps the killing was on the spur of the moment. You're saying it wasn't premeditated? From the outset, I had no intention of paying heed to any of your babble. However, the fact is, the mayor made a startling discovery. A startling discovery? I don't like the sound of that. Alderman Hubie's secret identity. Apollo? I think Prosecutor Blackwell has figured out the Alderman's secret identity. But even if he has, why would it be a motive for the mayor to commit murder? This is not good. So his actual diagnosis is. I mean, there was always the possibility that, like, she doesn't actually have, you know, DID and actually just thinks she does, and that's why she tricks herself into it. I guess maybe it's kind of like hypnosis, I guess, or like maybe it's less that she actually has it and more that she just thinks she does, and because of that she acts like that, but she doesn't actually like have it, which I think would be a different condition entirely. But yeah, I mean, that could be like an actual explanation for it, I guess. Just like describe it like,
oh hey, she doesn't actually have it, but she thinks she does, and that's why she acts like that. Because she's, like, fulfilling a role or something. This is not good. This isn't a bad theory, actually. Oh, okay, yeah. There we go.
This patch of fur was discovered at the crime scene. It's from the mask worn by the amazing Ninetales. Therefore, we can conclude that this mask was at the crime scene.
Oh my, but why would it have been there?
The victim was a former pro wrestler and a member of the anti-merger movement. Need I say more?
Well, yes. Ah! Would it really be?
Your baldness has had an epiphany, I see.
People who are hypnotized are still aware of their actions, even if it's not as directly as you normally see it. They still share completely separate memories. I think the easiest way to put it is simply that, like, they probably didn't think that hard about it when they were writing it. They were just like, oh, I've heard of dissociative identity disorder. Let's just do that. And I think that was the end of the conversation. For all I know, there is an actual condition that would line up with that, but, like, I don't know. I'm not sure if that much thought was put into it.
Our victim, Rex Cuby, was the amazing Ninetales. And the mayor's discovery of this fact was his motive for murder.
No! Gotta love how Fulbright keeps the superhero pose at all times. Really an ally of justice there.
Order! 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 What a shocking development! A motive clearer than crystal!
Wait, did they say clearer than clear crystal? Wait.
Clearer than crystal clear!
Okay, there it is. What do we do now, Apollo? I didn't think they'd tie the Alderman's secret identity to the mayor's motive for murder.
At last we've reached my real point. Why did the Alderman have to forge a secret identity?
Yeah, even the fandom who actually does have that exact mental diagnosis aren't very happy with the inaccuracy, as you'd expect. Oh yeah. It's one of those things where that is, you know... I'd say it's a fairly sensitive subject, especially with, like, it's not really played that seriously, for the most part. It's almost treated like a joke sometimes. So it's like... I don't know. I can understand why that would be a little bit of a sore point with that part of the community. Because, you know, it is a real issue. It's something that does affect their lives, and I'm sure they're not really happy about it.
Does it not pique your interest, your baldness?
I admit it does. It is odd that he had to create this other persona. Just to secretly participate in the anti-merger movement.
Very astute of you, your baldness.
You know how the judge takes no offense to that? The judge... I wonder if the judge is like, yeah, I'm bald. What about it? Fuck you.
Right, now take a look at this.
Blackmail letter. Right, yeah, this. Her alternate personas use more of a plot device than anything else when they write themselves in a hole. Yeah, like, without, again, going into spoilers, a little towards the end, kinda. And honestly, even when it shows up, it kinda is. This is part of his facial hair, and honestly, I respect it. You know, he can't grow any hair on the top of his head, but he can grow hair on his face. That's something you gotta look forward to. It shifted down in life. It started at the top, and then just kind of slowly went down until it arrived at his face.
If you value your dearest life, you will merge Ninetales Vale with Tenma Town. This blackmail letter was found in Alderman Cuby's pocket.
What? Actually, wait. Did I see the blackmail letter before, or did I just know that there was blackmail? Oh, no, wait. There was blackmail for, the other guy, but not... Oh, he actually would look great in a Gandalf outfit. Yeah, or Dumbledore. Yeah. Like really old wizard stuff. Or Santa. Santa Claus.
At present, the alderman's wife is in the hospital. And that letter was clear evidence the mayor was blackmailing him by threatening her life.
Wait, didn't the blackmail letter sent to Mayor Tenma go missing? Right after the alderman's murder?
You think maybe the killer took the letter from the mayor after the murder? And planted it into the alderman's pocket?
It's possible, but we don't have any proof that that's what happened.
Talk about being up the creek without a paddle.
Might be doing Apollo's voice a little too deep.
Mayor Tenma would have made a clean getaway if he'd just left after planting the yokai things. But he was knocked out cold by his sudden decision to kill the amazing Ninetales.
Apparently in one of the games he has a cloak, so later down the series we'll see something like that. Ooh! I'm intrigued.
So it was the amazing Ninetales' counterattack that brought the entire crime to light.
Wait a sec. Fulbright's claiming that the mayor killed the alderman after planting the yokai evidence. And that the mayor was knocked out cold immediately after that? Detective Fulbright, please add your previous statement to your testimony. Kill the sleeping alderman after planting the feathers and tracks. I don't think it's possible. Tenma killed the sleeping alderman after planting the feathers and tracks. I don't think that makes sense, because the tracks are in the blood. Objection! Detective Fulbright, your sense of justice is anything but fair.
What's this? You dare question my justice again? A large influx of bees ought to solve that.
Anytime someone says, "What's this?" I immediately think of Dr. Bees.
What's this? A court case woefully underpopulated by bees? A hearty helping of bees ought to fix that.
God help Dr. Bees. Alright. Yes, and I'm going to prove it to you. If something's impossible, it's turning the impossible is possible. You know what? That's entirely true. We do have ghosts. Maybe aliens, too. We'll see. That's never been proven. Yes, and I'm going to prove it to you. Take a look at this photo.
This is the crime scene photo. And just what does this prove?
It proves when the feathers and tracks were planted.
But I already told you they were planted before the murder. The defendant planted the yokai evidence, then was knocked out while killing his victim.
But that would be impossible. If you look right here, it's clear when the feathers and tracks were left at the scene. No, stop moving.
Aren't you just pointing to the yokai feathers and tracks, Mr. Justice?
Yes. See how the feathers are on top of the blood and the tracks were made in blood? In other words, the yokai evidence could only be resulted after the murder. Considering we were already very close to just actual mage territory, I'm surprised we can't have seen someone cast Fireball during their crash out. You know what? If we ever get, like, a mage-themed character, that probably will try to happen. Or they'll fire a firework out of a little, like, button in their robe or whatever. What would their name be? Like, Mac Jick or something? Or something like Mac, and then, like, or Will Zard. Something like that.
Then the mayor must have planted the evidence after killing the alderman.
But you said it yourself. The mayor had been knocked unconscious thereafter. There would have been no time for him to plant any evidence at all. Therefore, there must have been someone else besides the mayor and the alderman at the crime scene.
Ah, there must be some mistake.
I was yawning at an inopportune moment.
Where's your evidence? You can't possibly have any, can you? Ha 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 ha!
Evidence? Oh, I have evidence. In fact, I have an eyewitness's testimony for you.
You do? But how?
Grandolph would be great for... Oh, yeah, exactly. Grandolph. Would be great for this game's line of behavior. Yeah.
Was my vaunted sense of justice really just half-baked?
Oh, look at him pout. Or it sounded like you had a stroke. I don't want to make a joke about people having a stroke, but in a very dark way, it would be kind of funny if I had a stroke on stream. Like, don't get me wrong, it would be sad. I'd probably have a huge impairment to my quality of life and, you know, potentially die. But I feel like, to some extent, in the moment it would be funny before we all realize what's happening. And then it would be sad. I don't want it to happen. I don't want it to happen at all. I think it's a terrible thing. But if it happened, it could be funny for a moment. I shouldn't laugh at this. I really shouldn't. Oh. He's taking this really hard. Phrasing.
Mr. Justice, what is this testimony regarding a third party that you claim to have?
Why is such a damn himbo? I kind of like him. You know, honestly, I wasn't sure about him at first, but he is kind of growing on me. Very stiff, yeah. Like, he's wearing... It's almost like he's wearing a hat, but it's his hair. But yeah, you know, he's not Gumshoe, but he's still pretty funny. I have it right here, Your Honor. It's the sworn testimony of Mr. Tenma's daughter. And they're gonna say that because she's his daughter, it's not liable. Or reliable. The witness, Jinxie Tenma, saw a yokai in the hallway after stumbling upon the scene. It was the demon Tenma Taro. He's the source of those feathers and tracks. You just hear a cough from the audience. Will somebody please say something?
The defense will explain to the court exactly what he means. You dare to mock this court and justice itself? You're unfit to bear your name, boy.
Your boldness, it appears the defense attorney here is delirious from exhaustion.
What is upon you, unless you're my grandpa on my dad's side. Yikes, there's a story there. But it would be a little funny, although it would make you sad, because, yeah, exactly. I don't want to say that it, like, obviously, no one should have a stroke. I don't want anyone to have a stroke, especially not me. But situationally, I don't know, I'm not gonna harp anymore on this. For all I know, this is gonna lead into me actually having a stroke, and then it's gonna be like, oh, he's just doing a bit. And it's like, no, I'm not, and I will actually die probably. This is you make like 90% of the weekly entertainment value in my 90% of the entertainment value of my weekly life. Oh, thanks. Glad to know that I can help you. You know, that's nice. Apollo, think of something quick before you're held in contempt of court. What do you think I'm trying to do? Before you decide whether I should step down, please hear me out. Hear me out?
Very well, Mr. Justice, I'm all ears. But you had better explain yourself well.
The cosmic karma if it happened to either. Yeah, ideally, obviously, not funny. Strokes are very serious, and I would not wish it on anyone. But, yeah, no, nothing else needs to be said. I don't need to say anything else. I feel like anything else will further indict me into the possibility of having a stroke. Anyway.
Better explain yourself well. What was this yokai you were talking about?
What, can you spell yokai? It's all in this statement here. Jinxie Tenma asserts that she saw Tenma Taro. After she discovered the crime scene and called the police, she came around a corner in the hall. It was around here that she saw Tenma Taro fleeing toward the foyer. Foyer. We have to explain what yokai are. That would be pretty funny. It just shows like Hangman's Gambit, but just like saying yokai. The defense asserts that whoever was impersonating this monster is the one who left those feathers and tracks behind, intentionally or otherwise.
What? How incredibly unjust! Why haven't I heard about this before?
Events just proved the same.
Maybe son is all set up. The prosecutor is a conflicted fellow, after all.
Apollo, the momentum has shifted in our favor. Good, let's keep it that way.
Objection!
Uh-oh.
Little do you realize, that thought you are in the midst of as if... That thought you are in the midst of... That though you are in the midst of a fray, your sword is broken.
So I'll pick up another one. My sword? I didn't know I had one to break. Foyer is no correct pronunciation because it's based on accent and personal preference, so I can't even correct you on that. Okay, yeah. Forgot about that part. It's French and a loan word in the English, which means it's impossible to tell how it actually is. It's foyer and it's foyer, depending on just basically whatever you're feeling for the time. Okay. Are you implying there's a problem with my claim?
Consider this. If that yokai impersonator had indeed fled toward the foyer, that fool and that fop would have seen him.
Fool and fop. Oh, you mean Filch and LaBelle. Now that you mention it.
Both Phineas Filch and Florent LaBelle were in the foyer at the time.
When until Blackwell starts pulling out the proverbs, we're gonna be here for a few hours.
But they haven't stated that they saw a yokai, have they? Did you ever consider that a yokai was but a figment of a scared little girl's imagination?
Why didn't those two see the Ten Mataro impersonator pass by? Why didn't we ask them ourselves? I was just about to say that myself. No, really, I was. The defense would like to call Mr. Phineas Filch, caretaker of QB Manor, to the stand. I just know he must have seen something.
I suppose we can't ignore the fact that the little girl believes she saw a monster. I trust you have no objections to the Mr. Justice's request, Prosecutor Blackwell.
I keep almost saying Professor. That's the problem here.
I understand that Mr. Filch is enjoying a nap out in the lobby.
I knew that Tanuki was a rare find. When we captured him, I didn't think he'd end up a witness. Do with him as you will.
Did he just say captured? No, wait. I don't want to know.
Very well then, bailiff. Please go wake Mr. Filch and escort him to the witness stand.
The difference in volume between hydrated and dehydrated is insane. Yeah. That's why I gotta keep it all liquidated. My assets, my vocal cords that are made of a synthetic polymer or something.
Will the witness state his name and occupation, please?
The name's Filch. Phineas Filch, caretaker of QB Manor. Oh, and this is for you, your lordship. Just a little something I thought you might like.
Oh my, what a fabulous pair of shoes. And your order will do just fine, Mr. Filch.
It's those shoes again. Don't they belong to Detective Fulbright? Don't tell me Filch stole them again. All yours, your Honorship, sir. I've played DVD before. I did, and I also played it on stream. And here's a fun thing about that. The people I was playing as the killer, the people I was playing against were way better at the game than I was. Like, they were running circles around me. I would have someone picked up, and then they would, like, flash me with some gadgets, stun me, make me drop the person, then they'd revive the person in front of me, and then just run away. Them Stack Adams? I guess they are. I'm not really much of a shoe guy. But, that could very well be it.
What
But they seem awfully expensive.
Yep, too expensive for me, but I reckon they'd be perfect for someone like your honorship.
Well, it's a kind gesture, but legal ethics dictate that I can't accept such gifts.
Oh, look at him. He's actually being legally ethical. There you go. Oh, ethics, schmethics. Just take him if you want him. Polish him up real nice for you, too.
I'm sorry about the shoes, Mr. Filch, but I will accept your testimony. The court would like to hear whether you saw Ted Mataro in the foyer after the murder. After the moide. Foyer with the moide.
Guarding the foyer. At the time of the moide, I was on guard duty in the foyer, just like Mr. Kirby asked. I was making sure no one, fair, foul, fishy, or otherwise, could get to our guest. Tell me you got looped, saw someone recover, didn't get a single hit or down, then got flash stunned. Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, that's a very good way to describe it. No, see, I did down several people. That's not the problem. The problem is that they all worked together to then mess with me, and then I got no one. I didn't, like, hook anybody, at the very least. Or if I did, they didn't stay hooked for long. I was still in my office keeping a good watch when the moide happened after 3 p.m. But I didn't see nothing out of the ordinary, no siree. If I was to get another one of the like, buy characters or whatever, I'd probably go either for, like, the Xenomorph. Is Predator in it? I feel like Predator would be a cool one to have as, like, a hunter, you know?
That yokai you keep jabbering on about was a phantom of a little girl's dreams.
Unless you got paired in SWF instead of a solo queue team. Ah, yeah, probably should have done that. Go for, like, I'm guessing solo queue is more like we all individual as opposed to having, like, a team against me. That is most likely, like, it is entirely possible that I did mess up and go for the wrong place. So, I would be open to doing that again. If I, you know, think about it. And remember to do it. So you're telling this court you never saw anyone dressed up like Ted Mataro? Yep, was guarding the whole time. That's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And Ted Mataro? Wah, you don't really believe in all that yokai mumbo jumbo, do ya? I certainly don't. My bracelet. It's... Something the matter, Apollo? My bracelet keeps squeezing my arm. Really? So you think Mr. Tanuki, I mean, Filch has been lying to us? I wouldn't rule it out. Solo queue often sucks for the survivors, but it's great for the killer. But if you run into a good party that can calm with each other, your ass is cooked if you don't know what to do. Which is exactly where I was, in terms of not knowing what to do. What killer did you play at the time? I don't know, I'd have to look at the VOD to figure it out, but I don't have any of the DLC killers, so it was probably one of the ones that was like a base one. I think it was like... There's a guy with like a machete or something, right? Not Jason, obviously, because Jason just got added, but like... You know, Fuck, like, isn't there a guy with like a hook or like a machete or something? More than but the close to Predator is like the Trapper. Okay, so it was definitely one of the base game hunters, and it was, or the killer, I mean. Base game killers. And I think it's the one where it's like, you slash someone and then you like wipe the blood on like your arm or like something else right before you do it so you can't like do it again immediately. I think that was the one that I did. Now, if I could just zero in on a tell, some sort of nervous habit. I mean, the Wraith, he has hooks in his body. Maybe. Is he like a... I don't know. Again, I would have to like look back at the VOD. That was like 3 years ago, I think. Legion. Okay, that was probably it. Yeah. If you know what that one is. Yeah. Now, if I could just zero in on a tell, some sort of nervous habit. Ow, bird! What the fuck? What in the... Where's the one with the bell? Okay, that's the one with the bell. Got it. What's a hawk doing in here? Is that Blackwill's pet? Yeah? That's pretty cool, not gonna lie. Allow me to introduce my trusty cohort, Taka. He seems to have taken quite a liking to the courthouse. Made this new home, in fact. He doesn't live with you, you know, in jail?
Who's ever heard of a courthouse bird? Taka simply loads trickery and fraud. And that... I say this knowing full and well we're on the cusp of Pride Month. But, and that queer power of yours seems to have offended my dear bosom buzzard. I don't know why I find that so fun. Just the concept of Apollo's power being about being gay. I feel like he's not saying queer in a nice way, though. He's the one who can run really, really fast. Okay, that's probably it, then. This isn't some sort of trick or... Come on, fuck you. Okay, yeah. I won't be able to spot squat like this! What the heck's going on around here? Run for the hills! No, no, stay. No pets or other animals allowed in the courtroom. Let me just say, this image right here is peak. I love this. Ah! Somebody help! Oh, he's merely having a bit of sport. He won't harm you, save when he's truly famished. In that case, Prosecutor Blackwell, you will ensure your feathered friend is properly fed. Look at him just scratching himself. The wallpaper forever. It's really good. Yeah. Wonder if I can get like the clean image of that without the text box. I'd have to like go back and like... I think there's an option to make the text box disappear for like taking a picture, but like... I'll have to see if I can get that. Looks like we have to do this the old-fashioned way. We'll be fine. I think. If there was someone dressed as Tenmataru there, Filch should have seen him. We'll just have to put our faith in Jinxie's statement for now. Mr. Justice, please proceed with your cross-examination. So I can't use the bracelet, I'm guessing. Or if I could, the bird would scratch at me. Guard duty in the foyer, just like Mr. QB asked. I believe that. No unfair, foul, fishy, or otherwise get to our guests. After 3 p.m. Hold on a sec. Okay, it is after 3 p.m. That's fair. But wasn't there a map of the like the layout of the cameras that we saw? Office used by caretaker Phineas Filch. Keeping good watch when it happened at 3 p.m. The window wasn't so big someone could get out of it. But what's to the left? How'd you rate your movement mechanical skill in games? I mean, like... I think I'm decent, depending on what game it is. I think usually I can manage a pretty... some nice movement. Aim and stealth capabilities are lacking. No, that's a good way of putting it. I think a previous viewer once described my timing with regards to attacks as, creative. I don't remember which game it was, but it was, I think something with like quick time events. He was like, yeah, your timing is, creative. And I think it's one of the best ways it's ever been described. Let's see, what about this? But wait, then... if he was watching on the TV, couldn't he have just... dove and, like, gone down the stairs, then to his immediate left, and dove out the window under the camera without getting seen by the camera? Oh wait, what about that TV guide I have? This thing. Objection! There we go. When someone makes a bad choice, I often try to yeah, you're full of interesting decisions. That is, like, the nicest way to put it, like a real backhanded compliment. I do like it when people say stuff like that. It's at least a funny way of putting it. Don't lie to the court like that, Mr. Filch. Hey, it ain't right to bushwhack a fella like that.
Unfortunately for you, I have evidence that proves you're lying. If you look at this TV listing here, you'll see that at the time of the crime, there was a pro wrestling match scheduled. Something you'd never miss. Heck! Imagine still using cable in 2026. I didn't watch that one, no siree! I was doing my job just like I was supposed to! This guy doesn't know when to give up. Mr. Filch, someone even circled the match. It was you, right? Yipes! Not only that, you even told me you watched it. You said, and I quote, "It was a complete disaster." So you admit to slacking off. Like Hillbilly Leatherface. Okay, that's an interesting idea. What about, isn't Mr. X in it, like from Resident Evil, or was that... I know Leon's in it, right? Leon? And Claire, I thought? I guess I could have sworn that was the whole thing. Or are those just skins for other survivors? So do you admit to slacking off? You can't trick me with your roadie-poo lawyer talk! I'm one of the professional types too! I can do double duty watching TV and the foyer at the same time! The only thing Filch can claim to be a professional of is professional thief. If it was still available, that'd be a good idea for you. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, like, do they come back ever, or are they just, like, very limited time things and they never, like, rerun?
Mr. Justice, you would have this court believe the witness was slacking off?
No, Your Honor. I actually said that the witness was That's correct. He claims to have been watching TV and the foyer at the same time. But that's nothing but a bald-faced lie.
Bald, you say? But I'm not the one who's lying. Perhaps you meant the witness, Mr. Justice.
Nemesis, okay, Nemesis, yeah. Nemesis is a killer DVD. Jill, Claire, Chris, and Leon are all survivors. Okay, yeah. That's what I thought. I thought I heard news about that a while back. Yeah, I gotta be honest, I don't buy skins often, but if I was to buy one, I think I probably would get Nemesis and then maybe Leon as, like, survivor. I don't know, I just like the guy. Or, oh, I like Claire. Claire's really good. Not that I don't like Chris or Jill, but, you know, it's like... You know, I like Claire and Leon. I think they're cool.
And in that case, let's see what evidence you can offer. You claim Mr. Filch is lying about watching TV and the foyer simultaneously. Now prove it.
Let me see. I'm not losing points because of that. Go back. There. Foyer diagram, present. Please take a look at the direction the TV is facing in this diagram. Now, unless Mr. Filch's eyes were his right ear should be, I'd think it would be impossible to watch the foyer entrance and the TV at the same time. Those aren't based on a gacha system. I know they're not gacha systems, but, like, I know they only run for... Wait, do they run for a limited amount of time, or are they... Like, you said that they were still available, so... Is that, like, a limited time thing, or whatever? Aren't skins, they're separate characters you can play. Okay. Alright, good to know.
Why, yes! Someone watching the TV there couldn't possibly see the entrance.
Exactly. And that means, Mr. Filch... You were slacking off and were not watching the foyer as you claim.
Yipes! Get bags out of the cat, or I mean, the other way around.
Well, they even gave him a box to stand on. That's a funny little detail. You know, for all the gripes people do have with, like, the 3D version of things as opposed to the 2D, I feel like in this, they do a good job of, like, working around the 3D and making it, like, you know, fun in its own way. A way that they couldn't do before. Killers in the game are permanently available until you end up with a Pinhead situation where they just can't license the damn thing anymore. Oh, okay. Alright. That makes sense. Because, yeah, I figured a lot of licensing stuff would be kind of a problem if, like... Especially with, like, for bigger IPs and having it be more, like... You know... Everyone's always asking for more money, and obviously it's a... from what I hear, it's a fairly profitable game, so it's reasonable that they would want to put more horror icons in it.
But Mr. Justice, isn't Mr. Filch's less than stellar work ethic relevant to this case?
You know what would be another really good person from Resident Evil to put in it? Lady Dimitrescu. I feel like she'd be just popular enough to make it work. Maybe get Ethan in there too, but I guess it... Well, at that point you'd have to show Ethan's face, and I feel like part of the point to him is kind of that people don't know what his face looks like in the games, at least. But yeah. They have Freddy Krueger, Ghostface, and even Pyramid Head if you like Silent Hill. Hey, there's something! Go with Silent Hill 2 Remake, which we watched me fumble through. But yeah. It's very relevant, because while he was slacking off watching TV, there really could have been a Tenmataro impersonator in the foyer. Objection. What now? I like how Apollo's gotten comfortable enough with it to just be like, what now? What?
Granted, this Tanuki was lax in his duties, but he still had the foyer entrance covered.
What are you talking about? Alexander would also have the nurse. The nurse is an interesting one. I didn't think they would go for that, specifically over, like... I guess Pyramid Head is also, like, the really big Silent Hill one, but, like... Huh. That is interesting. I'm guessing they have James as a playable character? Or is it just those two?
This.
I'm not a mind reader.
Auditory sense. His eyes may have been slacking off, but his ears were still hard at work. Right, Tanuki?
They were? I mean, yes, they were. Get this guy out of the court. I mean, come on. You could not have heard him ask that question and be like, oh yeah, that's what he meant. But you already admitted to slacking off. Now you say you weren't? My eyes might be lazy, but my ears ain't. I would have heard anyone in the foyer. You see, the foyer floor and stairway get all creaky squeaky when someone walks on them. Creak, creak, creak. Loud enough to wake the dead, I reckon. So you're saying you didn't hear anybody walk by? James is a survivor, there's a skin form. Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought it'd be kind of weird to have Pyramid Head but not have James. You know, they kind of go hand in hand, you know? So you're saying you didn't hear anybody walk by? Yep, my ears were working full time. So who's the liar now, you no-good shyster? Yeah, the on-road from The Ring, if you're into that. I actually haven't seen The Ring. I probably need to watch that at some point. I know it's a classic. Or The Grudge, or whatever. Like, whichever version of it is considered the main one. A lying thief calling me a shyster. This has to be the low point in my fledgling career. Gotta hand it to you, Mr. Blackwell, sir. You really are something else. I mean, you don't miss a thing. And them bags under your eyes, they're darker than mine.
Fair warning, Mr. Filch. Daka is particularly fond of Tanuki. Should you lie to this court again, you may suddenly find yourself on the menu.
Please don't eat me, Mr. Taka, sir.
The witness will henceforth testify truthfully under penalty of painful bird attacks.
That's because I've had a cool, like, Houndmaster, Kresu, and one other I forgot. Are those original, or are they, like, other horror icons I somehow don't know about? Yeah, I feel like Dead by Daylight is a game that I could get into if I really, like, put in the time for it. This isn't who I'm talking about, since you already know him already. Yeah, I heard they also added Freddy Krueger at some point recently.
And with that in mind, the court requests that the witness revise his testimony accordingly.
Rest is part of Thai folklore. Oh, cool. Alright, so yeah, they really, like, they kind of branch out and they grab a bunch of stuff from, like, different, like, cultures. That's really cool. Yeah. It's true. I was watching a pro wrestling match on the Office TV. Houndmaster, I have zero clue. Maybe he's just a guy that likes dogs. You know what? He would like Monster Hunter Stories 3, where you can make a lot of dogs. Just put them in the environment. My eyes might have been slacking off, but my ears, they were working overtime. The floor there is all creaky squeaky like. No way I would have missed someone walking by. So you see, there weren't no Tenmataro in the foyer.
Superstition is the religion of feeble minds. Understand?
Houndmaster is a really pissed off black woman. So, does she have a dog? Like, don't get me wrong, Houndmaster is a cool name, but it does imply that there is some version of a dog at play. Does she have that dog in her?
Understand? A simple, rational explanation is best. Forget yokai, demons, and such. You must use common sense. For lacking that, our entire world would be butt upside down.
No, it's actually her main ability. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. She's got that dog in her. Her Mori is so cool. So I'm guessing that's like a ultimate move? And Mori because it's like mortality? Like, or is that like specific to her? That's the convict prosecutor who is totally a sign of the end times for the legal world. And besides, if there were any yokai roaming about, I'd nab them and sell them to the zoo. They have Vecna. Oh yeah, Vecna from Stranger Things. And don't they also have the Demogorgon? I wonder if Jinxie was just seeing things. Chucky. Oh yeah, of course they got Chucky. Yeah. Classic. Seems to be the general consensus. Do they have, who was it? The guy from Saw. How do I forget his name? Not Pinwheel. It's, fuck, what's his name? Jigsaw. That's it. Out of curiosity, do they have Jigsaw just, like, riding around on his little tricycle? I think that'd be funny. Vampire Lord from Castlevania. Oh, they got, Dracula, then. Or, well, at least a vampire from Castlevania. They have Demogorgon. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. That seems to be the general consensus, but I'm sticking to my guns. But if we can't prove she saw Tenmataro, the mayor's sure to be convicted. And we'd better hope my guns fire bullets, not BBs. Yeah, we better hope it's like some trigger-happy havoc or something. They don't have Jigsaw. They do have Pig, which is from the same franchise. Okay, yeah. I need to watch more of the Saw movies. I know that they do get turned into kind of a gore fest after the first, like, one or two of them, but, like, I've heard they are at least, you know, they keep making more of them. So there has to be something there. The defense may cross-examine the witness. Was watching it, good. I was locking off ears, working overtime. Was someone walking by? Wait, was he flying though, or was he walking? Where is Jinxie's statement? That jingled. Okay, so that's... Yeah, he definitely would have heard that. Do I have anything that contradicts him hearing that? Well, don't I have in the newspaper where it shows him flying? No way this is the answer, right?
Objection!
Yeah, okay, I fucked up. Something wrong with that statement, you know, about, what was that? I fucked up. The Morian DVD happens when someone is on Death Hook, final stage hook, and they're the last survivor remaining, or you have the correct perks or offerings. Oh, okay, alright.
Hold it!
More is just an animation where you kill the survivor by hooking them. Oh, okay, so it's like a little final execution thing. Got it. So you have pretty good ears, Mr. Filch. As good as they come, I'd say. Ain't nothing to hear of a creaky floor. Still has them, but some are lacking. Oh, like, some of the animations just aren't nearly as cool as they could be. Oh, man. Plus, that Tenmataro makes a sound when he goes by. It's like a jingle jangle. That does line up with the evidence we have. Jingle jangle? How does he do that? It's a staff of his. That's what jingle jangles. What's he talking about, Apollo? It's me, but I guess Tenmataro is a staff that makes noise. It's in the evidence, we just looked at it. No, think of it, didn't Jinxie mention something like that too? She said something that she saw Tenmataro holding a staff-like object that made a jangly sound. I guess that's the source of the noise then.
Well, Mr. Justice? Mr. Phelps says Tenmataro jingle jangles. Would you consider that vital information?
Yes, because it probably is. Extremely vital. I request that it be added to his testimony. Jingle jangle. Okay, but was he depicted with a staff in this? No, he was not.
Objection!
There it is. Tenmataro's staff would make a jangly sound, you say? Well, I'm gonna say that your story doesn't add up.
Is there something the defense would like to share with the court?
Mr. Filch, you say you didn't see Tenmataro on the day of the incident. Why, then, did you assume just now that Tenmataro would be holding a staff? Like, recently, Moors have been fantastic, but for, like, the Skull Merchant, dear God, they're so ass. Like, is it just, like, he just stabs the person and it's done? Or does he, like, rip their skull out? Ripping the skull out would be pretty cool. I'd like that, but, like... Eh. Dude, Predator has so much potential for Dead by Daylight. You see, the Tenmataro Jinxie saw held a staff in his hands. And she described it sound just like you did, as a kind of jangly sound. Yeah, so he was holding the staff. What's your point?
Objection!
The point is that Tenmataro doesn't use a staff. Not normally. What are you talking about? You see, this is the only known document depicting Tenmataro. Is there a staff in the picture, Mr. Filch? Just stabs you twice, throws you to the ground, and then scans you with a drone. Ah. Yeah, I can see why that would be a little lamer than just, like, I don't know, maybe commanding a dog to eat you, or doing, I guess, whatever Nemesis does. Which I'm guessing is the thing where he, like, takes his tentacle and he, like, shoves it down your throat. Well, some of them are caressing you as they make your head fucking explode from the inside out. She just stabs you a couple times and takes a pic. Yeah. I guess it's like fatalities in Mortal Kombat, where some of them are just inherently cooler than others.
Heck! So the question is, why does the witness think Tenmataro uses a staff?
I believe the answer will overturn the prosecution's case on the most basic level.
Well now, this is getting interesting. Alright, Mr. Justice, it's time to show the court where you're going with this. Please tell the court why Mr. Filch believes Tenmataro carries a staff.
There we go. Mr. Filch actually saw Tenmataro right after the crime occurred. That's the only way he could possibly know about the staff. You know there's a DC Mortal Kombat game at one point? Oh yeah, I heard about that, yeah. I'm not sure how good it was supposed to be, but I know it existed. Okay, yeah, it was supposed to be mediocre, but okay. That is an interesting idea, though, especially with how, like, they also make Injustice, so you think, like, they probably could make that nowadays and have it be a whole thing, you know? Bring it back in DC versus Mortal Kombat. Just an idea there. They could even have Batman do, like, a non-fatality or something. Where everything he does is just, like, non-lethal. But, like, whenever it says, we normally say fatality, for him only, it says, like, non-fatality.
Bloody hell! You duplicitous little...
Yes! How'd that feel, Black Quill? Not so funny when you're on the receiving end of a blade, is it? Admit it, Mr. Filch. You did see Tenmataro that day, didn't you? Well?
I'm begging you, please don't make me say it!
Maybe that's a KO announcement while everyone else has a fatality announcement. Yeah, that's a good idea, yeah. But clearly you did see Tenmataro. Stop stalling and testify to that fact.
No can do! No way, no how! You ain't got no idea how terrifying he can be!
He? Mr. Filch still won't admit to seeing Tenmataro, even though everyone knows he did. Question now is why? Mr. Filch is scared to death. Scared to death? Is that why he can't admit the truth? I'm gonna think of it. They say you must not gaze upon Tenmataro, but in the event that you do look, and then tell anyone what you saw, Tenmataro will claim your soul. Yeah, that'll do it. Jinxie wouldn't admit to seeing Tenmataro after hearing about the village superstitions. She said that if she told anyone that she had seen Tenmataro, he'd claim her soul. Wait, you think Filch believes that too?
Some of the big-time city slicker lawyers heard about him. That old village superstitions. Will the defense please explain what the witness is talking about?
Superstition, yeah, it's... Unless he means that he's afraid of the guy who actually did kill him, which we know who it is because it was in the opening cutscene. The people of Ninetales Vale believe some pretty strange things. And their superstitions may be the reason our witness here can't admit the truth. The truth that he really did see Tenmataro. Darn straight, that's why! It's all right here! Do not gaze upon Tenmataro, do not tell others if you see him. Ignoring superstitions will cost you your soul. There is, however, one way to save it. Your immediate departure from the village. Freeing him will bring ruin upon the village. Okay. Ignoring the superstitions will cost you your soul? See? That's why us folks at Ninetales Vale can't talk about seeing Tenmataro. Added to the court record. A good superstition is like putting something in the microwave is fine as long as it isn't active. Not this. Or it's like throwing salt over your shoulder, I guess, where it's like, yeah, it's a waste of salt, but, you know, it's a superstition or something. That clears up one mystery. The killer took advantage of the superstitions by wearing a Tenmataro costume. They knew that way no one could talk about him, so it was as if he never existed. The defense holds that this Tenmataro impersonator is the true killer. What?
Objection.
Superstitions, you say? What kind of fool would actually believe such rubbish? And would using some silly fairy tale could... would that using some silly fairy tale could so easily expose the culprit? You need to come up with a more rational, common sense explanation than that.
Objection.
Salt is awful clean up, fuck that shit. Expect that. Spill salt anywhere your ass picking up grain by grain. Yeah, like a leprechaun. I think that's part of the lore. Your common sense seems awfully narrow-minded to me, Prosecutor Blackquill.
Objection.
Try living in my world of narrow cells, mortal danger, and dark, sleepless nights. There is no lack of superstitions in the Clink, but few are those who truly believe in them.
Objection.
Well, the village superstitions are real enough to the people of Ninetales Vale. The life or death superstition might make even you a believer.
Order! Order, I say! You fool of a Tanuki! 2 times now your lies have cost me!
Sorry. I promise not to do it again. He's going to. He's going to do it many times.
Taka, my fine feathered friend, have at him!
Yeah, yipes! He's gonna eat me alive! Head for the hills! Ah! He took off.
But bailiff, what are you waiting for? After him! And with your fastest men! Put him back together again!
That's certainly not something you see every day. Some motherfucker looked at me like that, I'd stick my pet on him too. You know what? Fair. Fair and reasonable. Fetch his soul, Lucifer, and you turn around and see like the biggest dog of all time. The bailiff, where were they during the bomb incident? Oh, they're always there, they just don't do anything. They're just kind of off in the corner.
Well, it would seem a new and important fact has come to light. A third party disguised as the yokai Tenmataro was at the scene. And now we have 2 witnesses who can attest to that fact. Any objections, Prosecutor Blackquill?
Ah! Uh-oh! What? Oh. Ah! It's Shackles! Ah! I'm too young to die!
Justice, Dono. Long has it been since I've been forced to draw my blade.
You'd best say your prayers.
Oh. Eek. Detective, do something! Ha ha ha, have no fear, Fulbright is here. When the going gets tough, the champion of justice gets going.
Wait, what?
Objection.
Then get going already before he kills us!
Oh, but I stand in awe of Simon Blackquill for in his sense of justice that set him free.
Alright, Nagito.
Objection! Objection! I object to Detective Fulbright's definition of justice!
Okay, can we get like an actual cop in here?
Silence.
I'm not in the habit of cutting down unarmed cowards.
Oh, well, in that case, Prosecutor Blackquill, can I ask you to, you know...
The judge forgot he's in charge here.
So Justice Donna's assertion is this. Tenma Taro is the real killer, not Mayor Tenma. According to him, there was a yokai at the scene of the crime.
Right. And that yokai, or rather whoever was impersonating him, killed Alderman QB.
Silence.
Okay, to explain why Jinxie, being the first to discover the murder, did not see your alleged killer yokai there in the Fox Chamber?
What? He's right, she said nothing about Tenma Taro being in the Fox Chamber.
Let me enlighten you. The little scamp heard a dying scream right before she opened the chamber door.
Do I need to call a hospital? Because all of you clearly need a stronger spine. To be fair, there is a known murderer who broke his cuffs, and honestly, the cop should be the one doing something, really. But yeah.
And your point is? Upon opening the door, she found a freshly skewed murder victim, the Alderman, and the homicidal maniac who had killed him, the Mayor.
No, there must have been someone dressed up like Tenma. Ah!
Then why does that little scamp claim not to have seen a yokai in the Fox Chamber? Because he left earlier!
Considering her father is accused of the murder, surely she would have mentioned any third party that might have been in the room.
I don't understand. Why didn't she see Tenma Taro inside the Fox Chamber?
There is but one way to find out. Ask Jinxie Tenma whether she saw your killer yokai at the scene of the crime.
Uh-oh.
The final battle draws nigh. Only one of us will leave here alive. Long as my blade thirsted for blood, at long last it shall be sated.
Wait, this is still a trial, right?
Show me what you're truly capable of. Justice Dono.
Very well then. Both parties no doubt need some time to regroup. So the court will take a 10-minute recess in order to... Ah!
3 minutes.
This is more of a circus. I'm not just... Oh, this isn't just a clown, it's the whole circus, exactly, yeah.
I'm sorry, but a 3-minute recess?
Just so. Plenty of time for your destination of intent is the loo.
The loo? You mean the bathroom?
Sheesh. Just include enough time to wash our hands. Let's settle things with a duel to death. Honestly, that might as well be the way things are handled here.
See that you take no more than 3 minutes. All latecomers will be punished.
Bird Judge.
Yes, sir. I hereby declare a 3-minute recess before the battle begins.
I declare Prosecutor Blackwell the winner of this round of Simon Says. Doesn't bode well for us if the prosecutor is running the show, does it? Looks like takes 3 minutes to use the bathroom when it's taking a shit. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I don't take that long myself, so maybe it's a them thing. These are like half that. Yeah. Then in lobby number 3, also April 18th and stuff. 10:04 a.m. 10:40 a.m. He busted out of his shackles. Yeah, what was that all about? They don't make shackles like they used to. You know what, I'm gonna go ahead and stop here. I think this feels like a good point to stop. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Airhead, your favorite YouTuber Android. My next stream is sometime this week. Keep an eye out for my schedule tomorrow. Have a lovely morning, day, or evening. Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed, and goodbye.